recently, Kim and I have both gone to museums that have been putting on a huge event. And it wasn't just an event, it was kind of a transformation of that area into a cultural experience. That's what we're going to call it. So I went to the Santa Fe Renaissance Fair, and it's at the El Rancho de las Golondrinas.
That place.
Which is a really cool cultural area to begin with. It's basically old Santa Fe. It's got kind of adobe houses and a church, and it's a huge space. So yeah, they transformed this area into a Renaissance Fair. 11th annual.
Proceeds go to help the educational programs of the place, plus the Santa Fe School for Arts and Sciences.
And it's really cool. It's just one weekend, 2 days. Have some stages set up for entertainment. They've got all the tents for the booths. And then when you go down this giant hill, you go into the fairyland, and the jousting is over here. And so you've got these really cool areas. They use their space really well. The fairyland is in kind of a wooded, hilly area, and so you've got fairies hiding behind trees.
That makes sense.
It's really, really neat. So it's very impressive how a museum can use its landscape. We kind of do that with Stake Plains.
We do with Stake Plains.
However, our Stake Plains was over at the rodeo arena this year because it's outgrown our space right here. So I went to the Renaissance Fair. Kim went to Midland.
I went to Midland to the CAF event, which is the air show. CAF is the Commemorative Air Force at the Midland Air and Spaceport. And what they do is they bring planes that have been from World War II and things like that to the people, and you literally reenact history while you're sitting there. They had a B-29 like ours, Thumper, except this one is Doc. He's the second flying B-29 in the world. There's only two. There's Fifi and Doc. And Doc is all chrome, so he's very shiny and he's pretty. Kavanaugh Flight Museum was there. An entire museum based around World War II, Vietnam era flight, pretty much old planes that they keep them active and they keep them flying, and they go to air shows for this purpose. So as a person in the audience, you're sitting there and you're watching them do a CSAR, which is a combat search and rescue. The modern day military jets were there. There was a B-1B, which is a bomber, giant bomber. And it was a cultural experience. You walk through the hangars and you see vendors and other museums from around the area. It's transformed into history. So
it's really cool what you can do with any space.
The National Museum of the Pacific War in Fredericksburg.
They actually have a dedicated area for reenactments, basically. It's kind of like you're on a film set. It was really, really cool to watch it with the weapons, with a tank, and there was a boat, and it's all set up to do the explosions and this and that, and it's a very cool area. So that one's a dedicated area. Yeah. But for these two things we just went to, they're just kind of a pop-up thing. You know, they don't just pop up. You have to plan them and organize them. But
they happen once a year?
Yeah, it's just once a year, and it transforms the area, literally.
Oh, yeah.
And so, again, kind of like our Stake Plains when we had all the chuck wagons back here.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns into history, and it's so cool. Living history museums do that every day. It's accessible.
That's the word. And you have people there who are willing to talk to you and teach you about it, and
talk to them, ask them questions. That's what they're there for.
You experience it on a whole new level. Look for these events when they pop up. Like for us, our Stake Plains is every year. We also have our Day of the Dead where you can come learn cultural history.
Christmas is a very good example of that, because you can come, you can taste all the different foods.
From around the world.
You know, you get a little bit of that culture here in Hobbs.
So come see these events and support your museums.
See you next week.
Bye!
Hola!
¿Cómo está?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Bien.